Oh, howdy, y'all. This is my 2009 CLS63 AMG.
So first, let's take a look around the exterior. There's a lot of little features on this thing that just make it look incredible, especially based off its age. You've got these big, huge brakes here with 6 piston calipers. A more modern single fin grille here to replace the original dual fin grille. We've got some really sweet pillarless windows here. Open the door, it pops down, close it, and it pops back up. We've got 19-inch rims all around. Since this is a 2009, you actually have these LED turning indicators here on the mirrors. The previous generation just kind of had a bar, so this upgrade is pretty nice. And also included in the 2009 facelift is these LED taillights and turning indicators, as well as a slightly upgraded interior and rev matching downshifts.
Carbon fiber diffuser. This is not factory. Now, if we step inside here, you see we are greeted here with the P30 Performance Package, which gives you this nice carbon fiber here. And typically there is a different steering wheel here, but this car has some accidents that it has gone through in the past. The previous owner put on an older steering wheel here because the one that actually fits this car is about $5,000 for the steering wheel and the airbag. So before we get into the details of the interior, let's just open up the trunk here, check out the spacing behind. So over here we have a trunk open button. You can actually just pull this up and the trunk opens. You can also close this in the same way by pushing it down. So over here in the trunk, you can see here we have plenty of space, a lot of room, spare tire underneath. You can just hit this button here to close the trunk, or as also close it and lock it at the same time. So moving into the interior here, we have our window switches over here. We have our seat controls over here. You have 3-way memory seating. You can lock the windows.
You've got your parking brake, brake pedal and gas pedal, parking brake release, as well as your window controls. We've just got some typical controls here that you would find in a Mercedes of this era. And on the gauge cluster, we have a speedo going up to 320, a tach going up to red line at 8,000, and a clock, because the time is very valuable when you buy a car like this. Back in 2009, had an MSRP of 96 grand here in Canada.
Canada.
This one here, in the way it was spec'd, was about 130. So quite a hefty chunk of change, even by today's standards. But it's cool because you can get these things for great value. So we're going to turn this car on here and go over some of the details in the instrument cluster here. Just put the brake in and push to start here on the gear lever. As you can see on my car here, we have 87,000 kilometers, super low mileage. Starting with the suspension settings, right now we're in Sport 2 mode. We can take it out of that. It will just by default go into Comfort mode. We can go back down, put it into Sport 1, and go back down, click it again, and we are back in Sport 2 mode. And to the left of the Sport 1 and Sport 2 button, we have a vehicle rising feature here. Very handy for if you go over a pothole or speed bumps. Click that, it'll raise it up about 2 inches, and that's very helpful, especially because even in comfort mode, this vehicle tends to sit fairly low. And to the right here, we have our parking sensor off button. You can turn all of them off in the front and back. Then we have this little button here to the left of the shifter. Has an M, a C, and an S. The M is for manual paddle shifting. So you click that, you can play with these big metal fun paddles. And if you click it again, you can drive the car in comfort mode or sport mode, which is the automatic modes. Moving up here, we have our ESP off, which is your traction control off button. You also have your heated and cooled seats for both the passenger and the driver. And then you have a button here where you can actually remove and lower the rear headrests in the back seat for more view and just a more comfortable view out the back window there. And you also have your rear window shade button here as well. If you click that, it will retract. Very handy. And also it will retract back up by clicking it one more time. Kind of neat, guys. Balling on a budget. And moving up here, we have our radio options, navigation, different CD disc options, telephone, and you can just control the system very easily through this system here. You also have Bluetooth, but you can connect to answer and decline calls, obviously, but you cannot play music through the Bluetooth. And then up on top here, we have our climate control. This actually has quad zone climate control in this car, both your driver and passenger, as well as the rear seats. We also have a bumpin' Harman Kardon stereo system in this thing.
And before we get into the back seat here, let's just look in the center console here. It's kind of cool. You can click this button here, open her up, kind of nice. Close it. You can actually also open it from the other side.
Now that we've gone through the front of the car, let's take a quick look in the back, and then we'll go for a rip.
Here in the back seat, we have a decent little chunk of room here. I have my seat pretty far back, but I like to stay quite far away from a wheel. I'm about 5'8", 5'9" height. So I would say, you're going to be comfortable in here, but if you're going on a super long road trip, it might not be the best. So every seat in this car is heated. Now, note, this is a 4-seater car, not a 5-seater. The middle here is actually just storage. You got storage in here with a 12-volt. Kind of cool. We got some carbon fiber here because it's the P30 performance package, and just a little area here to put your cup. So there's only one cup holder back here, not two. Ashtray over here in the door. You can click it and open it. This one's being a little finicky. Ah, there it is. So you've got your ashtray over here. You can stick that back in there, and you're good to go. You have the ashtray on the other side as well as the heated seat. You also have your dome light up here as well, and you have a HS handle, a holy what handle, yeah. Kind of cool too. That has a little soft close feature, so I can't even do any of that. And in the center console over here in the back, you just kind of have a little storage space for whatever you want to store. Maybe you want to store your phone, some business cards, because if you're going to buy this thing back then, you're going to probably be into some kind of business or entrepreneurship, most likely. Got some storage behind the seats here. And as you can see here, we have plenty of ventilation systems. So that is it for the interior of this car. But now let's look at the part that everyone wants to see. And the reason that I bought this thing, because it is just bonkers, which is the M156 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8, which you're not going to be able to buy anymore with Mercedes, because now they're coming out with these AMGs with their 6-cylinder engines, which is kind of crazy. So if you go underneath here, you got a big red toggle here. We are going to pop that hood, man. This engine has been known for a lot of controversy. A lot of people actually do not like this engine. It's just like anything. Any car has its downfalls. But that being said, it's incredible value for money. And I mean, this thing is really powerful. You had the M150 or the M113K is a predecessor to this engine, which is a supercharged 5.4 liter V8 engine. So that thing had plenty of power, under 500 horsepower, in the 400s pound-foot of torque. But this thing here has a bit more power. Some people prefer the M113 over this M156, but that's more for your personal preference and to see which one you would like to live with more so. So this engine here has 507 horsepower from stock, has 465 pound-foot of torque, has a dual overhead cam, 32 valve engine, and it is super powerful. You can see here, this thing is hand built by E-Roll Sank or E-Roll Sank. Not sure who he is, but I will say this engine has been great. I do have some oil leaks coming on it, but it's a great engine. Looking to put down 20K for a nice fun vehicle, and this is an incredible option, these M156 engines. Especially this one here, since I managed to get this thing for about 15K Canadian dollar before I did any repairs. And it has 87,000 kilometers, and that's after me putting about 6,000 kilometers on it. I got it at 82,000 clicks. So it's amazing. Put in some good oil, and these things will last, and also you can tend to the issues, which you can find on the forums and everything. You can find out the maintenance you got to do if you want to make these things last much longer. I will say this thing is sexy. Sometimes I'll come out to my garage and just look at it and just say, would you just look at that? Damn, baby. Woo! You hot! The crazy thing about this engine is the way that it sounds. So driving the CLS63. So you can hear by the rev matching downshifting there that this has a very spirited drive to it. And that is mainly because in 2009 here, where they switched from the previous generation to this 2009 facelifted model, that they introduced rev matching downshifts, which is a very amazing thing. a very amazing sound that you get to listen to when you're driving this thing. So you're just ripping about town. If you put it in manual mode, you're gonna hear it better because you can just kind of shift whenever you really want. If you're in automatic, it can still come in, but that being said, when you're just ripping down the road, fucking downshift, boom, wow, 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 you just hear it going crazy.
Over here on the left, we have our cruise control arm. If you click it up, it will set, and you can keep clicking it up. It will continue to increase the speed that your cruise control is set. And just like that, you can also click downwards to reduce the speed that you are set. And if you simply click it away from you, then it will cancel.
We've come out here to a highly undisclosed location here in Mexico. Now, as you can see, this is a spot that is not just for any vehicle. All right, guys, that's about it. As you can see, I love this thing. It's just an incredible car. And if you can't tell, look at that. Burning up some rubber here in Mexico, you know? So hey, I guess that kind of concludes this video, you guys. If you like this thing, found it helpful, or if you're in the market and this kind of helped you, if you could hit that like button or subscribe to my channel, that would be incredible. I'm gonna keep growing this channel. It's gonna be slow, everything is slow, but I'm looking to, at the moment, just in the process of selling this car. Now, I'm not in a rush, but if I can get a good value for it, then I'll part with it and go for something that I can put some work into, maybe do a rebuild on this channel. It could be a Maserati Gran Turismo, Quattroporte. I just love Maseratis. If I can get one, that would be too cool. If not, you know, maybe a 335i, just whatever I get a great deal on, because personally I'm all about those deals. If we can get a good deal, we will make a deal. Hope you guys have a good week. We'll see you in the next episode, you guys. Peace.